the man in my attic. So, I, 24 male, have lived on my own for about 2 years now. I have a very small bungalow I'm able to pretty comfortably afford. In this bungalow, I have an attic area. At a guess, I'd say it's about 5 by 5 meters in size, and you can only really stand in there in the very center. Anyways, I work the night shift at a factory. I basically just sit on my phone all night. So I usually get in at around 8 a.m. I was coming home last Thursday during a heavy storm, and I got into the house and just went to sleep. When I woke up, I went on my phone and saw that I was so tired that I didn't check my notifications. I have a Ring camera outside my door, which shows me anyone who would have come to my room. I saw that it had been tripped at 7:42 a.m. I got into the house at around 8:10 to 8:15 a.m. I checked the video and saw that it was a man. He was pressed right up to the door and was fumbling around with the handle. He did this for about 10 seconds until he spotted the camera. Once he did, he quickly scuttled away. This unsettled me, but didn't entirely creep me out or anything. I got up to go make some food and discovered something in my kitchen. My back window was open. I, of course, instantly began having the thoughts of a home intruder, but slowly chilled out as I convinced myself I had left it open. The rest of the day consisted of this, just noticing small things that didn't seem right and scaring myself, all up until a point. I leave for the shift at 10 p.m. and I was watching some TV at 9 o'clock-ish. I spotted something that made my heart leap into my throat. Out of the corner of my eye, I could see it. My attic entrance was slowly being slid open. I can so vividly remember that I began questioning my sanity. Surely I was just hallucinating or something. I looked over at it and absolutely saw something that made me so much more scared. I saw fingers wrap around the hatch and begin moving it more. I didn't know what to do. I could feel the panic beginning to really get to me, and I wasn't sure if I should leave the house and call the police, or if I should try to yell at whoever was up there. I chose a mixture of both. I began dialing 911 and ran to my bedroom where I could lock the door. As soon as I began running, I heard the hatch get almost teared off with the speed they moved it. Then I arrived at my bedroom door. I looked down the corridor and watched for a second, seeing only a little slice of the blackness up in my attic. Then I saw the human hands still holding onto the slides of my ceiling. I yelled, "Whoever is there, I'm calling the police. And I have a gun." I did not own a gun. "If you take a step out of there, I will fucking shoot you." The adrenaline was really making my hands and voice shake, but I tried sounding as tough as I could. Then I saw something that I truly do not think I will ever forget. The hands slipped back into the dark, and then he dropped down. I slammed my door shut and locked it as quickly as I could. The call went through, and I was able to get on a line with the police, and they dispatched officers to my house. I told them I didn't know if the man was armed or not. The dispatcher told me to stay on the line. I heard the man walking up to my door and rattling the door handle. He also seemingly went through my cupboards in my kitchen, as I heard a lot of commotion there. Truth be told, I don't know why he stayed. I would have just left the house, but he stayed right up until the police came in and arrested him. Apparently he was a homeless man and was armed with a knife from my kitchen, and I'd recently been seen in the area trying to get into other houses. Truth be told, I'm very frightened to sleep still. I now sleep with my bedroom door locked and all my windows closed. I also sleep with a knife under my pillow. I know that this is unlikely to ever happen again, but I just cannot forget the way he dropped down from my attic. So that's the story of the scariest thing that's ever happened to me. I made this account to tell it because I feel like if I write it down like this, it will feel less like a real thing and more like just a story. I was being watched. I don't know for how long. This all happened exactly a year ago. Shout out to Facebook Memories for reminding me. I lived in a ground floor apartment in a very heavy foot traffic area. It used to be a corner storefront, so the living room windows were huge and only one small one could be opened. I had a very violent upstairs neighbor and even angrier dealers living across the street. I've had to make multiple calls to the police and give statements. Aside from them, the neighborhood was pretty lovely, and I got along with all of my sane and neighbors. One of my cats even became a local celebrity thanks to a haunted Halloween tour that would always stop at my corner every night to tell stories. The second he heard them, he'd sprint from wherever he was to jump up on an open windowsill and listen while they all cooed at him. Anyway, because of the large windows, I didn't have any privacy in my living room. Usually I didn't mind this because I'm a people watcher, and my cats also love the view. I have blinds and sheer curtains, but you could always still see straight into my apartment. Thankfully, I had plenty of privacy in my bathroom and bedroom. One night, I was sitting at my computer desk in the living room just watching YouTube and sipping on a beer. I heard a group of people talking outside, but these were normal sounds for the area and would have ignored it completely if I didn't hear one of them speaking directly into the window fan in the one open window. "Oh, she's drinking a beer. Doesn't she usually drink whiskey?" I spun around in my chair instantly and then heard, "Oh shit, she saw us," and scuffling as they ran away. I could not see them because it was dark outside, but it sounded like there were at least 2 women and 2 men. I was frozen in place, just listening for anything else, like footsteps or their voices again. It took me a while to fully realize what I just heard. I do typically prefer to sip on whiskey at night, but that day I wanted to try a new beer flavor I saw in the store. These people knew my habits well enough to know this. I was also deeply concerned that they knew it was whiskey, since I drink it out of a set of patterned glasses, and there was no way to tell what was in them. You could see the kitchen from the living room windows, but I often kept my whiskey in the freezer, so they'd have to see me at specific moment to know. Needless to say, I didn't sleep that night, and while I couldn't sleep, I remembered another incident that had happened a few nights prior. I keep my bedroom window open at night because I sleep right under it and I like the night breezes. There's a bright security light directly across the street, so even with the blinds down, I still have quite a bit of light hitting the opposite wall. One night I woke up around 3 to 4 a.m., which isn't unusual for me, and just turned on a Netflix movie to fall back asleep to. While laying there, I see the shadow of a head and shoulders appear on the wall, and it just stays there for way too long. I'd guess about 15 to 20 minutes. Now, this isn't very common, but people have stopped to smoke a cigarette right outside my window before. The smell gives me an instant headache, but this time there was no smoke or smell of any kind. Someone was just standing there. I couldn't tell which way they were facing, but after the recent event, I wondered if someone was looking in while they thought I was sleeping. I told my coworkers about these events and they were terrified for me. I was actually planning on moving at the end of October and just slowly bringing boxes and furniture to my new place over the course of the month. Once they heard what had happened, they all banded together and got 75% of my things over in one day. I told them all I cared about was my animals and my bed, but they got everything but the large furniture and whatever we couldn't box up and move before midnight. I love them all very much and appreciate them every single day. I had a couple of anxiety attacks over this, especially when I had to go back for my stuff, but I felt completely safe in my new place. I also got a full-blown security system with sensors and cameras. Unfortunately, this wasn't the first and ended up not being the last time I was watched or stalked. I still visit the area of my old apartment from time to time because it's a great bar scene. I don't think I'd be able to pick out their voices, but no one's given me weird looks or vibes since.